Ukraine, like many other countries, is indebted, deeply indebted, and the debtor countries sort of had a meeting, as they sometimes do on a situation of this kind, and said basically they wouldn't forgive the debt of the Ukraine, but they would have a moratorium on repayments of the debt and payment of interest on the debt for 2 years. So, in a sense, Ukraine has been let off the hook in terms of repaying its debt, and that's very valuable. And in the statement on it, they kind of said, well, they look forward very much to international participation in the reconstruction of Ukraine. But as part of this, it became pretty clear that one of the deals which was involved was that many people have been interested, not only on the Russian side, in expanding control over the wheat and grain and fertilizer kind of export trade, which is mainly set up in the west of Ukraine. After the end of the Cold War and all of that went on in the 1990s, Ukraine found itself under considerable pressure. There was a lot of an attempt to sort of Western capital to move in and to take control, particularly over all the land resources. So Ukraine passed a law which actually banned foreign ownership of agricultural land, which meant that the multinational corporations from the West, who'd been kind of lusting after it, were basically held at bay because and at the same time, there were attempts to prevent the consolidation of the land, so that there's kind of a movement by oligarchs to consolidate land holdings into massive agrarian empires was also checked. In other words, the further neoliberalization of Ukraine was put on hold in 2000 by this legislation. Well, it seems that the current government in Ukraine is prepared now to kind of say, okay, they'll go back to the neoliberal game, and they'll open up the land resources to foreign control, and they will open it up to the oligarchs and all the rest of it. So there's a deal going on right now that in return for good treatment, Ukraine will actually release all of its resources so that the multinationals, the Western multinationals, and the oligarchs can actually consolidate their control over the wheat trade. So that's going on in the background. All that's going on in Ukraine is not simply about fighting off the Russians. It's also about a competition for access to resources. It's also about making something happen which will be to the advantage of Western multinationals, and therefore the Western multinationals support very strongly the continuation of the war. This is not just simply a war between Ukraine and Russia over 15th century images and all the rest of it. This is a very tangible war over resources, and different groups have different interests and therefore are supporting the continuation of the war. Ukraine is now a site where there's a battle going on about that. So in part, interestingly, the battle over Ukraine can be seen as an attempt between two systems. One is the state-owned system, which is still very strongly present in China, increasingly in alliance with Russia, state-organized capital accumulation, versus the corporate systems of the West. That what we're seeing is a battle between those two economic systems being fought out in the background to the actual military battle that's going on in Ukraine itself. And so there's a lot at stake here, economically as well as politically.